What is up, everybody, and welcome. Today, we are jumping into a story that honestly sounds like it was ripped straight from a movie script, but it's not. It's happening right now. We're talking about cyber wars.
I mean, really, pause and think about that for a second. What happens when the whole digital system that runs your town, the thing that lets you pay your water bill online or check out a library book or even just hop on the Wi-Fi at City Hall, what happens when all of that just goes dark?
Well, the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, they just got the answer to that question. And yeah, you heard that right. It wasn't just some IT problem. This was a full-on emergency. So big they had to call in the military. So let's get into how this all went down.
Okay, so our story kicks off in Minnesota's capital city, where what started as a totally normal Friday morning, well, it turned into a massive citywide crisis real fast. Just look at how quickly this all snowballed. It starts with a pretty vague alert, just suspicious activity. But over the weekend, investigators realized this is way bigger than they thought. By Monday, they make a drastic call. Shut it all down. Just pull the plug to stop the bleeding. And by Tuesday, it's officially a state of emergency. That is just how fast this stuff can happen. The mayor, Melvin Carter, he put it in no uncertain terms. This wasn't a glitch. This was a crime. He called it a deliberate, coordinated digital attack. So we're not talking about some random hacker messing around. We're talking about a serious, well-planned operation. So what did this actually mean for people living in St. Paul? Well, suddenly you couldn't pay your bills online. The library systems were completely frozen. City workers couldn't even log in to do their jobs. But, and this is so important, in the middle of all that chaos, they managed to keep the 911 emergency system safe and running. A huge win, for sure.
Okay, so the St. Paul attack was loud and messy, but it's only one type of threat. Now we've got to talk about a totally different kind of cyber war. One that's, well, it's a lot quieter, but it might be even more dangerous. And it involves a group with a crazy name, Salt Typhoon.
Right here, you can see the two completely different strategies. The St. Paul hack was all about disruption, breaking things, causing chaos, making a lot of noise. Salt Typhoon, they're the total opposite. They are digital ghosts. Their goal is to be invisible, to sneak in, hang out, and just steal information without anyone ever knowing they were there. And these guys are scary good at what they do. I mean, the Department of Defense reported that Salt Typhoon got inside a U.S. National Guard network and just lived there for almost a whole year, completely undetected. Just think about that for a minute and look at the kind of stuff they were stealing. This wasn't about shutting things down right away. It was about stealing the blueprints for a potential future attack. They grabbed network maps, admin passwords, even the setup files for the systems that run our power grids, our communications, our water. It's basically reconnaissance for a much, much bigger fight. And this quote, wow, a former Air Force chief essentially said that after a breach like this, you have to work from the assumption that the enemy is already inside your walls. That is a terrifying thought, and it completely changes how you approach national security. So, this all brings us back to St. Paul and the National Guard. Because when your city gets hit with a cyber attack this sophisticated, who are you going to call? Well, it turns out you call in soldiers who are armed with keyboards instead of rifles. And this is the exact question people were asking online. I mean, it sounds a little weird, right? Calling the military to fix a computer problem? But it actually makes a ton of sense when you find out who these soldiers really are. So the Guard's Cyber Protection Team, or CPT, has a clear 4-step mission. Think of them like a digital SWAT team. First, they contain the threat, stop it from spreading. Then, forensics. They put on their detective hats and figure out how the attackers got in and what they touched. Next, they help the city recover its most important systems. And finally, they help rebuild, making the defenses stronger so this doesn't happen again.
So, who are these people? This part is actually my favorite. We're talking about the 177th Cyber Protection Team, and for them, this was the first time they were ever deployed for an incident in their own home state. But here's the kicker. They're citizen soldiers. You know what that means? In their 9-to-5 lives, these are the cybersecurity pros working at places like Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. The city was literally being defended by some of the best in the business. How wild is that?
Okay, so the St. Paul attack was a massive wake-up call. So Minnesota isn't just cleaning up the mess. They're building a statewide defense plan for the future. Let's take a look.
And yeah, they're putting real money into this. We're talking over $23 million, a mix of federal and state funds, all going into creating one unified defense plan that covers the entire state. And the strategy here is really smart. It's not just about buying new software for one city. It's about leveling up security for everyone. Counties, school districts, the works. The big idea is collaboration. If one town gets hit, they can instantly share what they've learned to help protect every other town in the state. It's a team effort. All right, so we've been talking a lot about government and military stuff, but this whole fight really does come down to us too. Good cybersecurity starts with the basics, and honestly, these are the things that everyone gets wrong sometimes, even big organizations. So please, use a password manager. Turn on two-factor authentication for everything, and just take a breath and think before you click that suspicious link. Every little bit of personal security helps.
And all of this really leads us to the one big lingering question. As our whole world goes digital, who's actually responsible for keeping us safe? Is it the government? Is it the tech companies? Or is it a responsibility that we all have to share? That's definitely something we're all going to have to figure out. So that's the breakdown of what happened in St. Paul and the bigger cyber threats we're facing. The key takeaway is that the battleground is changing, and so are the soldiers fighting on it. If you want to stay on top of the trends shaping our world, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more daily trend breakdowns.